So today I'm going to be going over why you should add villagers to your Minecraft world. And when I say adding them to your Minecraft world, I mean adding them to your own cities and towns and villages that you make. So this is just a village that was already here, but I have a village. This is in my forever world. I've had this world for 5 years. And I recently started a project. We can take a minecart to it, which is like a town that I built just for some villagers. Now, when I'm talking about villagers, I'm not talking about using them for trading purposes. I'm saying why they're so good to have in your towns and villages besides the trading advantages. So this isn't going to be about villager trading goals or anything like that, but the benefits of having villagers basically in your Minecraft world, whether or not you want to use them for trading. So basically I have set up this village so that every single place, or nearly every single place, has a work block associated with it and a villager that works there. So basically we have some sheep here, and then as you can see we have a shepherd, which is next to a loom, which is the work block that the shepherd uses. And I have this pretty much all over the place. I have one for farming as well over here. I'm not sure if this farm is positioned too well. I'm not sure if it's the best position. I don't mind it, to be honest. I might leave it there. And basically over here, this is one of the nicer ones, I think. This is the armor shop. And I like this because when you go in, it pretty much is an armor shop. It's what you'd imagine an armor shop to look like. And an armorer actually works here. I don't know why armorers use the blast furnace as their work block. I'm pretty sure they do use it. I don't know why. Yeah, so he's working on it. He's not working on it right now. He's just out here. So essentially, see, if you can see, one of the advantages is basically that you can get build ideas based on the villagers. At least that's what I've been doing basically in this village. And obviously you don't have to make every build. There's not an infinite amount of villagers. You don't have to make every build centered around them, but it can give you ideas. And although there's no point in this armor shop, it looks really nice. I think it's just nice to look at. And I like that there's actual armor stands and whatnot in there with armor on them. Then you've got this well, which is not anything, there's not anything associated with it, but there is a leather worker here. And then we've got the church. And the closest thing I could find was a librarian to make sense in this church. And also I do want to build a larger church in the future because this is quite a basic church, I guess. And if we keep going, I'm not sure what's in here. I don't think there's any work blocks. This is just a house. Then you've got the library over here. So as you can see, well here, you know, it actually makes sense to have a librarian. He's offering Fire Aspect 2, by the way, which is higher than I have on my current sword. Yeah, it's quite nice. I like this little pattern that I went for. I didn't go for it on the ground for some reason. I feel like it would be nicer if I did. It would make more sense. But yeah, and this is just a little lake area, basically. And then the newest thing I added was this diner. And if we go in, the work block for this one is the smoker. So as you can see, basically nearly every single place has its own work block. And this can just inspire you to build stuff. And also it makes your builds feel like they have a purpose. Because if you're playing on a single player world, it's quite, you know, like sometimes you build something and you just don't use it. It's just sort of there to look at, which is fine. But you never sort of want to go in there because you never sort of find yourself going in there because there's no real reason to go in there. If you've got villagers in a building, for example, especially if you trade with them, if you need them for trading, you actually have to go into your buildings to trade with them. It gets you to actually appreciate what you've built. It makes it look and feel a lot more purposeful. It feels like the builds actually make sense, essentially. Now I do think I copied this design online. I usually say you shouldn't copy tutorials online, because it's just not as fun as building stuff from your own imagination, essentially, or at least making your own design while taking inspiration from something. But this is a completely copied design. I did not know how to create a diner, but everything else is mostly just stuff that I've come up with. That was supposed to be a clock tower, but it kind of failed miserably. It doesn't look that great. It's still, I kept it up there because I can't be asked to take it down. But it was supposed to be all around. I just never finished it because I just don't think there's a point. I don't really like how it looks too much. I don't really want to finish it, but I'll leave it as it is. And then here, even the well does have a sort of purpose because you've got the bell. So the villagers, if you don't know this, if you place a bell anywhere in the village, villagers will sort of group up at this bell at certain hours, and they'll sort of socialize and whatnot. So which is really cool to see. So if you could just place them around areas where you want a lot of villagers going, that's how you can get a ton of villagers at a certain area, basically, if you just place a bell where you want them to go. And usually for getting villagers to different places, I just use either a minecart or a boat and a bucket of water. So I just place the bucket of water while the villager is in there, and I just transport to and then start basically repopulating the area. Then you can just connect the villages and stuff that you build in different ways. I like using minecarts because you can just sort of be AFK in them, even though they're quite slow, to be honest. Hopefully they do speed them up at some point. I know that they were testing something to do with that, but yeah, hopefully they do speed it up at some point. However, it is nice to just sort of enjoy the scenery and whatnot as you're in the minecart. And I do have a plan to rebuild the entire village over here. Essentially, I want to redecorate it and everything. I've made a video on it because it sort of looks like a prison right now. This village was inspired by a YouTuber called Polosaurus Rex, by the way. So it's not my idea of having these huge walls. Wasn't my idea, basically. But this was in 2020 that I built these massive walls around the village. But I haven't really changed the village too much in the last 5 years. I mean, it's changed quite a bit. I've expanded it with these fences over here, this area. But overall, it's pretty much the same village. I've added a few like of these huts with a ton of beds in them. But I do kind of want to rebuild and restructure the whole village so that it's custom made at some point. Maybe do something similar to the glowstone village that I showed you earlier. But overall, I think that you should definitely, if you play on a single player world or even on a server or anything like that, you should consider adding villagers to your Minecraft world. It can really improve the feel of your cities, of your towns, of your villages. It's because seeing villages and cities and towns empty, it's just not, doesn't feel that great to me. It makes it feel a bit dull and pointless. So with villagers, even though they're technically just NPCs, it just makes it feel like, you know, there's actual, you know, the things you've built are actually being used. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this inspired you to add villagers to your world, or maybe you already have villagers in your world. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.